Hi everyone, it's Raina. So this video is for those people who have their natal Mars in the 7th house of committed partnership. The 7th house is also the house of legal matters, one-on-one partnerships that are not, like romantic types of relationships, and even open enemies, which is kind of, you don't want to think about enemies, but that can be what is represented by the 7th house. I want to give a shout out to advancedastrology.com that helped me compile this list. By the time this is over, I may actually consult another site because there are some things that I did not find on this site that I still think are possible with this placement. When we think of Mars, we have to think of this aggressive energy. Mars is the god of war, and it relates to our drive, it relates to conflict. And conflict is a word that conjures up something negative. But really, it's just two opposing points of view or desires, and it's not inherently negative unless people think that it's bad. But it can be for people that are more undeveloped emotionally. It can be something that is very reactive. And so people who have this placement tend to lack assertiveness. This is like having Mars in Libra. And it's very contradictory because Libra is a sign that rules Venus, that is ruled by Venus, and is the opposite sign of Aries, which is ruled by Mars. So it's like Mars is in the sign that is opposite of its rulership. This is known as being in its detriment. And, you can just figure it out that it's not going to be very powerful in that position. Now, I have to state that we're not talking now about Mars in Libra. We're talking about Mars in the 7th house, but it's going to have a similar connotation because of that. And so the point is that when we're talking about the 7th house, we're talking about one-on-one relationships. And one of the things that makes these relationships work is compromise. Well, Mars is not a planet that is really big on compromise. So this can kind of make these types of relationships challenged sometimes, especially, like I said, if the person is not very developed who has this, they are going to be like a bull in the china closet. When it comes to their interpersonal relationships, they may have a hard time compromising, cooperating. They want to have things their own way, and that can create problems. We have to look at the Mars sign to see how much this is going to be the case. I would say if Mars is in a fixed sign, so we're talking about Leo, Aquarius, Scorpio, and Taurus, that's going to exacerbate that stubborn quality. And, you will see when people have Mars in a fixed sign that they're very obsessed about things that matter to them. They're very driven. That's what obsession is, a fixation on something. And Mars is like, if you see the symbol of Mars, it's like an arrow. And it's like the person has this target. And when they're approaching it from that obsessed point of view, nothing is going to deter them. And so, there's like this desire that's associated with Mars, and the person won't be distracted from it. And when they're trying to compromise, it doesn't happen if they're not on the same page with someone. So that can be, one of the examples of where conflict can arise. This is the area of committed partnership, or we could say marriage, and Mars here can produce a spirited relationship. I would even say, speaking on my own behalf, not that I have this placement, but just in terms of what it could represent, is if both parties are very active, maybe even athletic, and they like to work out together, they like to hike and do things as a couple that are physical, like if they're going on vacation, they're going to hike, they're going to do something like that. I didn't see that here, but I can add my own 2 cents to the topic, I think. And that can happen, where both people are really committed to working out and they like to do it together. Or that they're just like outdoorsy types of people. There's like an adventurous quality with Mars. The other thing that Mars represents is the sex drive. So when you have Mars in the 7th house, sex can be a very important part of the marital relationship or the committed partnership. And that means that the person really that's like very important to that person. That was something else I didn't see on this list, which I am kind of surprised about. I think that I would be correct about that for some people. They did mention passionate marriage, enthusiastic marriage. But I would say just like, actual sex. What else? Now, these are, like if there's some kind of very heated tendencies between the two people, if it's a fiery type of relationship, it can be that kind of thing where then there's that make-up sex. I never understood that. I think that, to me, it's like if you're fighting with somebody, that's the last thing I would want to do after I fought with someone. But yeah, there's some people that's some kind of a pattern with them, and that just might be a thing that they do. It can also indicate that you get involved in serious relationships very hastily, that you're rash about these kinds of things. And that can, certainly create problems because you may pick the wrong person. If I look at a person's natal chart and I see hard angles from Venus to Neptune, that just gives even further indication that the person tends to pick the wrong partner. But then if this is there too, that just is more evidence. And you might be attracted to people who are Aries. So that might even indicate the type of person you're attracted to. There can be competition between you and the other person. Now, they just said it can be a competitive relationship, and I suppose it can go both ways, but I tend to see I guess it could be on the other person's side as well. It can just indicate competition in the relationship. And how this would normally play out is, who has more success, who has more, what are the power, where is the power in the relationship, which can come from who makes more money, and that kind of thing, the type of personal success that both people have. And sometimes people, it might not be on your part. You might be the one that has greater success, and your partner is the one who is irked about it and trying to be, in the driver's seat. And so it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It can be, some of the more positive traits. It can be a very lively relationship. And you think about some relationships where it can become complacent, where the people just kind of take each other for granted and they don't do things together. This can be a very active relationship. It all depends on the two people who are involved in it, as with anything else. So I hope that this resonated. If you would like a personal reading, the link is below. Thanks for listening. Take care. Bye.